I've studied thousands of e-commerce ads over the last few months, but more importantly, we've been working behind the scenes, hands-on, on the creatives of some of the fastest growing D2C brands in the space right now. And today I'm super excited to share 3 concepts with you that you can apply today for your brand and explode your ROAS and explode your sales. I will break down 3 styles that have generated millions of dollars in sales, break down the exact framework and why they worked so you can take them for your business today and scale them as well. For example, we recently helped another D2C brand scale from $30,000 a day to over $70,000 a day in spend in 30 days, and one of these ads was also part of the scale-up process. But at the same time, if you're like a smaller spender, these ads still work and they work amazingly well. For example, we had another brand that went from 50k a month to over 550k a month with these ads. Another one that went from 200k a month to 850k a month, also in just 2 months, also with one of these ads. So I'm super excited to share them with you, and with that being said, let's hop right in. So the first one we're going to break down is the which is better ad. I will just play it for a bit so you can see and understand the concept.
Rosemary oil or Capilla longa, which is more effective for hair growth. Whilst rosemary oil has some evidence.
So you can immediately get an idea of what this ad is about. It is a which is better comparison ad. Now this is a perfect ad for any market that is highly sophisticated. Any market where the solution aware audience is hot, where you can really sell to them, this ad is just perfect. Because what does it do? Well, in the beginning, we start off the ad not with like introducing our product or talking about a specific pain point. We talk about a specific solution that is currently well known in the market. And in particular, this is actually an alternative to some of the other solutions that are in the market right now, right? So here we have rosemary oil versus this Capilla longa in the hair loss market. Rosemary oil is a very common alternative for a lot of people that a lot of people try as a natural remedy. Capilla longa is something new that a lot of people haven't heard about, so it's kind of this new thing. And because these guys know about rosemary oil for hair loss and they do not know about this new thing, it creates this curiosity that immediately draws them in. Now you can also use this one when you compare 2 things in the market that are currently hot as well and people are not really sure which one is stronger. If you're one of their solutions, then that is fine too. On top of that, what you can also do is that you just highlight 2 alternatives in the market or 2 common wrong beliefs, something like that, and then you introduce your product as the 3rd and better solution afterwards, right? And that's just then how it continues. So then it goes on, it talks about like, while this has shown some evidence supporting it, there's a much better thing. Then it goes about how this works, into the unique mechanism, the benefits, before and afters, and then just closes off. For the sake of simplicity, I actually broke down a very simple version of this for you, and we can just really go through it right now. So you see, it starts off with these 2 things, this or that, which is better for the specific dream outcome. Then it moves on, while this one or that one have some evidence supporting it, it might not be the most effective solution for whatever dream outcome you're trying to achieve. Now then we introduce the solution. We can here either introduce the solution, the unique mechanism of the solution that we found out, or we can already introduce our product, right? In that case, we didn't just introduce the product right away, we introduced one of the ingredients of the product and then led to the product. So in this case, another effective ingredient that can help is that, or another effective way or product or whatever is this. In the next step, it talks a little bit about what it is and what it does with the claim right here. You can also back up this claim, which is cool too. And then we talk about, again, some symptoms. So if people are seeing the symptom of the actual problem that they have, right? Like, for example, thinning hair for hair loss, something like that, that could work, that could fit in right here. Or you're experiencing some of the other things right here, then you need to try this, and you can also mention the brand right here and introduce the brand, right? It uses this and that alongside with some other things that also help support this and also what comes out of it. If you have some studies, some credibility, some authority, doctors, anything like that behind the brand, you can throw them in right here and then just close off the ad with like join thousands of who have solved this problem through using this method, right? Easy as that. Slap on a discount if you have one at the end, call to action. And that's pretty much it for this very simple version of the which is better script. And yeah, this is a super versatile script because we've made this work in children focus support, we've made it work in hair loss, we've made it work in well, non-alcoholic alcohol, it really works for a lot of things. Highly recommend you try this out. And as you can see, the funny thing is, in the beginning, the brand wasn't so sure about running this, like they weren't too confident in the script. But then you see this one has been running for almost a year, and it has just been really doing really well for them. Anyway, let's move on to the second one, and I can't take too much credit for that, to be honest, because this concept also originated from one of the biggest direct response brands in the space. I will explain how and why and how this came about, but I will just play it again for a few seconds so you see the concept and you get an idea of it. And then it moves on. So what do we have right here? We have an ad that talks about 3 killers, right? Or 3 blockers, or 3 spikes. Whatever we have, this is the original ad of that. This ad has been running for years. It has been crushing. This brand is called V-Shred. They are just absolute beasts when it comes to performance creative. They have done multiple $100 million every single year, and it's just a great brand to take a look at and take inspiration from. Now, we've been using this concept also for many months, years even, I would say, and I highly recommend that you try it out as well, because we've also made this work in skincare, we've made it work in weight loss, we've made it work in many other niches, and it can also work for you. So the way it works, this is a little bit more complex. I do not recommend starting with an ad that is like almost 4 minutes long and just going based off of that. I would highly recommend that you just break it down in simple ways. You try to start off with the hook and the lead part, which is just like, this is a growth killer, this is a growth killer, this is a growth killer, for example. You think about 3 things that are actively hindering people achieve their dream outcome, but it's actually something they're doing every single day. And then once you have that, you introduce this further. And we can actually break down the script right now. I have it right here for you, so you can understand what this looks like in actual real world examples. So you see how it starts off. This is a mechanism of dream outcome killer. You could also see it like the dream outcome just in general. We've also made this work for another supplement brand, and it moves on. This is one, this is a killer, this is a killer, and even this is a killer. What you show is just regular stuff that people do every single day that just hinders them from achieving their goal, right? Sad reality is most people do this negative thing every single day and wonder why they can't achieve the dream outcome. Now, the best way to do this and do that is not this and that. So you talk about all of these things which are not true but often common beliefs of the people. And then you just eliminate them and you create this curiosity that just keeps them watching, right? And because you're able to increase this average watch time, you're also ranked as a better advertiser in the ad auction, right? The people who have better CTRs, who have better watch rates, who have better hook rates, what they get from Meta is cheaper CPMs, cheaper CPCs, and ultimately also cheaper cost per purchases, right? And cost per conversions. Because Meta just loves great advertisers. If you get people to like your ad, to click your ad, to watch your ad, that's amazing. And that's exactly what this script is also doing. It's amazing at getting people in, drawing people in, and then just educating them on your solution. So it starts off with this things that people do that they shouldn't do. Then it's also talking about like these alternative solutions that don't work, and it's also not this and that. And then it talks about like how you want to achieve this. Then it moves on. No, this doesn't actually help with the unique mechanism of the thing that you're actually trying to achieve. Then it talks about like, that's why even when you do this or that for an hour a day, you get disappointing outcomes. So you talk about things that people know. You really hammer on the pain because you want to talk to these people who've tried things but who haven't been successful. And there are so many of those, right? These are like problem aware and also a little bit like solution aware people in the funnel stages if you think about it. And that's just amazing people to sell to because there are millions of them. It's not like the people who only know your brand. People with a problem, you can't even count them. Like literally, there are so many of them. And that's why these ads are perfect for top of funnel customer acquisition on Meta, right? So let's move on. So again, here to recap, alternative actually does the unique mechanism of the problem, and that leads to the negative outcome. That's why even when you do this and this right, then you have the disappointing outcome still, and you don't actually achieve the dream outcome. Now, this is one of the biggest reasons why most dream outcomes attempt fail within the first time frame. The truth is that authorities like athletes, doctors, whatever, they can get this because they followed a long lost kind of thing. They know like something that other people don't know. And this just again spikes the curiosity of the viewer, right? Because they want to desperately know what this little insider group knows that they don't. Now then they talk about it. They had this strong but negative solution, were even popular. So what was their approach? Well, they ruthlessly cut through the fluff and then just went on. Then in this case, very interesting, they stack 3 testimonials, right? I like to put some testimonials in the ads as well. I think it's super strong. It's even stronger nowadays than it was last year, I think. You can also just leave this out, and I would like you to use this script as more of like a modular kind of approach. This one would probably be too long for you in the beginning if you're just starting out creating ads like this. So you can leave out some things, wouldn't leave out the hook and the lead part, rather something here and re-script it in a way that makes sense for you. Maybe not talk about so many alternatives because your market might not be as educated. But anyway, you just move on and you adjust it for your brand, right? Now then, they have these 3 testimonials. You want to know why this alternative also doesn't work even if you do it the entire week? Because the unique mechanism of the problem, again, the unique mechanism of the problem is pretty much why you have the problem and how it actually works, right? We like to think a lot about these unique mechanisms of the solution, how, for example, this hair loss product works, what it does in your body to make it work in very simple terms. The same thing you want to do for the problems, right? If somebody experiences hair loss, explain to them why they do it, right? Like why they experience it. And that is just that. Now let's move on. One of the biggest myths is this, the perceived problem, but actually the main problem, that's not true. I'm doing this perceived problem all the time and I don't have this problem. So when you're trying to achieve the dream outcome I'm doing and I'm achieving it, is actually one of the best ways to do it. Here's like a contradiction. You need to see if you can make this work for you. He talks about something that is usually seen as something negative in the space, but he does it all the time. And it still works for him. So he kind of like breaks a common belief. If you can break a common belief right in here, makes a lot of sense. If you do the unique mechanism of the solution properly, you probably do more perceived bad actor than you've ever done, and you get far better results than you've probably ever gotten on this test on this. Now then we have these different testimonials. Again, a 3-stack testimonial. As mentioned, you can leave out these ones right here and you can introduce them right here instead of having them both. So what is the best solution? Then we talk about the entire thing, how it works, how you can get it, how it's backed up. So we basically back up our claims with all of these different things. And then this is our solution, the solution pitch. And that's pretty much it. We reduce the effort that people need to put in. Quick win, quick win, quick win. Again, big thing that they are doing. And if you can minimize the effort that people need to put in, put it right in here. Use this, adjust it. This is not a one-size-fits-all. It's a little bit more intermediate and also advanced. But if you can make this work, or even if you can just make the first part work with like the hook and the lead with this is a growth killer and everything like that, and then you segue into another concept that worked well for you, please do that. That can also work incredibly well, right? Now let's move on to the third and final ad. Here we have a concept that we just call the mini VSL. It's a little bit unfortunate that I can't give you specific frameworks for that because they usually evolve from creative testing and doing a bunch of research, right? So what we have right here is, I will just play this for a little bit so you can understand what is going on.
They called my kid a late bloomer until this new supplement unblocked my son's growth. When my son turned 13 and wasn't growing, everyone said he's just a late bloomer. But here's what they don't tell you. Wait.
Yes, so if you think about this, all of these frameworks, they can work incredibly well. We reuse them between the brands to help them achieve quick wins and help them achieve just like fast scale-ups. And that's one of the amazing things when you work with a credible and also a great agency that knows their stuff. They can see things across different niches, different ad accounts, and they can plug in these different frameworks and make them work for you so you can really rapidly scale. But at the same time, we think a tailored approach and a tailored mini VSL approach, especially mini video sales letter approach, can make a lot of sense. And for this brand, for example, it also helped it really transform their acquisition. They 4 or 5x their budget and even brought down their CPA and increased their ROAS, which is awesome. Now, how do these work? Now, these mini VSLs, they're actually the result of just hours of research, creative learnings, and just a lot of spend for a brand. So they usually evolve out of like a few months into the creative journey, and then we really get a great understanding of what are the things that people lack before they buy, right? Like what are the common objections? What are these little things that stay unaddressed? And we use these mini VSLs to just create like this perfect bulletproof case why this is perfect for this audience. And you see, this hook is not like a hook that you see in any hook list. They called my kid a late bloomer. Like, this is such a specific hook for this specific product, and that's just why it resonates so well. It uses a buzzword, It perfectly talks to the parent in this way, and that's just why it works. It's super relevant, right? It doesn't follow like a 3 reasons why or this or that, how I went from this or that. They can all work, but because this script is so close to the actual target consumer, it just stands out. It has an incredible hook rate, it is super relevant to them, and that's why it draws so many people in. And then when you move into the ad, what it does really well is that it tells a story. We love this. We do so many things to increase the story trends, as we call it. Oh, I cannot take credit for this term. I once heard it from Peter Kell actually. But we do so many things to just improve the story trends in this ad, which means that we get the right scenes, we get the right subtitle style. Like this has been proven to be a winning subtitle style for this brand. The right voiceover, the right storyline, making sure that everything connects really well. And then again, like this starts off with a super relevant hook, goes through a storyline, kind of like this before state, this confusion where people were left off, and then it segues into the solution. And we even then tie in and build a specific acronym, which we call the unique mechanism of the solution in this case. Here in this case, we build something that we call the growth code. These acronyms are very powerful because people can remember them. They love to see them. It's almost like a listicle, so they like to go through. And if you just take a step back and analyze what's going on right here, you have a super relevant intro. You go into the personal story, the before state, you kind of like go through this hero journey, how this guy mastered it, and then we move into this unique mechanism of the solution, and we just break down this acronym. And usually we build these acronyms after knowing a lot about the brand and just understanding really what people need to know, what questions they have, what objections they have, and we perfectly tailor these acronyms to make the product work exactly like people would want it to work, right? And we eliminate all of the things that they don't want to hear about. Now, after this whole introduction of how this thing works and how we tie the features to the benefits and how we build this logical bridge to the solution, we usually follow up with a lot of like backups of the claim. If we have studies, we show that. Before and afters, we show that. Customer testimonials, anything like that. Then we again add some benefits, make it really specific with the ad, make it really specific in their daily life, what they can expect. And then we also segue into the buying process, often like what they need to do on the page. For example, it could be a quiz funnel, it could be anything else, how they can purchase them. We introduce the offer and then we close off and we try to get them to the page and then to convert. And this little structure with just super relevant copy has been absolutely crushing it. There's no ad that's really the same for two brands. The structure is kind of similar, but it's not that I can give you something like this where you can really use it line for line almost and write a winning ad. But I still want to share this with you because I think mini VSLs are just absolutely crushing it right now. I highly recommend you try them out. Try them for your brand, especially if you're in health, supplements, anything like that. Promise solution, try this stuff. So unfortunately, this is not a script that I can give you that you can copy paste line for line like some of the other ones, which you really use like today and just make them work for your brand. This is something you need to think about deeply, but this is also cool because you build a creative mode around your brand. You just build something that's super relevant to your prospects, and that's how you just dominate your market. And I highly recommend you look into this, you aspire to do something like this, and also just start with something small, work your way up and see how you can ease this buying process, how you can eliminate objection after objection, paint this beautiful picture of their future, and just close this entire beautiful story for them so they just watch the ad and they just want to give you their credit card, right? If you want our help to produce winning ads for you every single month, multiple of them, click below this video. There will be a link to schedule a call with me. We will take a look at your current strategy. We will take a look at what we could do for you and see if it makes sense. Would love to chat with you. But yeah, apart from that, this is pretty much it for the video. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you found it valuable. We really appreciate a sub as well. And seeing you in the next one.